All right, traders, one of my price alerts just triggered, and the SPY is setting up for phenomenal trading opportunities to trade the best setups at the best prices. I'm going to walk you through multiple potential trading plans for today. These can also be relevant for next week if the price alerts have not triggered. Let's get straight into the analysis. This is going to be the money-making information. It's going to walk you through exactly how to trade the best setups at the best prices heading into this morning. So in terms of the SPY, this is a recent trend, a recent pattern that I want you to be aware of. See how there was a gap to fill above right here on the SPY at 386.23? Well, on this day, the SPY gapped up. And once it filled this gap, it started to have a reversal and it came back to fill the gap below. And you can see the recent pattern repeated itself. SPY had a gap up here as well, and it filled this gap from 383.44, which is a very similar resistance level that we're at right now. And once it hit that level, it started to have a gap close reversal and fill the gap below, and it gapped up and it filled the gap below. So what has the trend been? The trend has been when SPY gaps up and it fills the gap that's waiting to fill above, and we have this gap to fill above at 383.76. And as you can see in the pre-market, surely enough, and this was the best level that I told people in yesterday's analysis to focus on buying puts, is right here at 383.76. So here's the deal. We need to wait for confirmation, right? So as the market's opening, if we are seeing this reject and form resistance at 383.76 and it's breaking down, it's forming a ceiling, it's forming a roof, we're gonna wanna look to get in puts as close as possible to that level as long as we have confirmation and it's forming resistance. So if you see the roof, you see the bearish wicks, it's confirmed resistance, you have your bearish confirmations right, then you're gonna wanna buy puts as close as possible to that level. And then you're probably wondering, well, what is the price targets? What is the price targets if we're buying puts for the gap close reversal and then playing for the gap to fill below, because we have this new gap to fill below at 379.38. So the lowest price target that you can aim for is 379.38. That's the absolute lowest. Now, in terms of me, I'm a scalper and I like to get in and get out very, very quickly. So I'm not going to be aiming that big. So in terms of my overall target, it would be the previous resistance level. Once the SPY broke above yesterday's highs, it started to climb up to fill the gap as mentioned, which is what would occur, and it would hit this price in yesterday's video, right? If you watch till the end with the trading plans. So if we close this gap, react as a resistance, I'm going to scalp puts as close as possible to this level, right? And then on my target is going to be right here at previous resistance at $381.80, right? So if it pulls back to yesterday's highs, this is what's going to happen. The first time it pulls back to yesterday's highs, those puts, 382 puts, let's say, that went out of money are going to try to become back in the money, and they're going to try to spike it off previous resistance, and they're going to try to turn it into support. That is why I'm going to be selling, if I enter this trade, 70% of my position size automatically without any confirmation. Just get out at this level because they're going to try to bounce it initially, right? So if you're still holding puts from there, your max risk is going to want to be around this level, around this 382.50. And if it stays under that 382.50 and it starts forming lower highs, they're going to try to crack this previous high, which would send it to fill the gap below at 379.38, right? So that's the first trading plan. I don't want to try buying the breakout. I don't want to try buying high. And I'm going to say this, if it reacts against me and it's going towards the 384.50 zone, that's going to be right around my max risk. My max risk on this trade would be right around here at this like 384.50 to 384.70. That's my absolute max risk. If the bulls turn this into a floor, it's going to continue to pump to the next level at 385 and then next level at 386. That's what it's going to try to do. So if that does react bullish and say I enter the trade and got stopped out, or I didn't enter at all because it looks bullish, the next best level possible for puts would be at 386, but that's no special strategy. That's just resistance level. The true next best level would be this gap to fill above at 389.63. That would be the next one to wait for, and that would be the best price possible. Now, let's discuss other trading opportunities. So SPY has a gap to fill below at 379.38, right? There's a gap to fill below at 379.38. This is at key support. So if you see this react as a floor, it's reacting bullish. It's reacting as a floor. It's forming support. It goes green to red, back to green, and it starts forming a floor. I went over how to identify this in my previous videos if you watched that, right? So if it reacts bullish, it's going to have a gap close reversal, and it's going to try to spike to the next resistance level, which would be right around here. At this 380 to 380.50 level would be the profit target, right? So if you see it having a bullish gap close reversal at this 379.38 gap, then it's going to try to spike to about 380 to 380.50. That'd be a scalping opportunity. Now, if it goes green to red, spikes back up, and it forms a roof and it forms a ceiling at the previous closing price and reacts bearish, then it's going to go super bearish. It's going to try to crack this support. And if it cracks that support at $378, it is going to try to fill the gap below. There's a gap to fill below at 376.66, and this would be your best level possible to buy call options. Look at this. This was consolidating in the extended hours trading session at $376.70. Massive rocket to 384. Imagine today if this had a gap close reversal at 383.74 and then it got crushed. It filled the gap below and then it went under that gap reacting as resistance, and then it filled this gap at 376.66. This would be a phenomenal trading level to be scalping calls if you see it consolidating, reacting bullish, forming a floor, forming support. 376.66 would be your best level to buy calls. And then in terms of another level, this would be the absolute best level possible, would be this gap to below at 374.13. For those of you who follow this channel, for those of you who are aware of how my strategies work and you're studying, you should really try your best to take advantage of these trading levels and of this plan, because based off of everything that's occurring, man, this is setting up for a phenomenal trading day and many trading opportunities with the key gap fill levels. Look at this, man. I told you guys within chat. What did I say, man? What did I say within the key levels in terms of yesterday? And if you watch the end of yesterday's video, the best plan was right here, 383.50. That's the best level to buy puts towards that gap fill level. 383.73 is make or break. If it reacts as a resistance, it's a scalp back to those previous yesterday's highs, right? This was all strategically planned. Look at this, man. The strategy's already working. SPY is already forming resistance and already selling off from the gap. History's repeating itself. Now imagine trading not knowing this and not mastering this strategy. This is the best strategy you can optimize for. I've been studying charts for over a decade. I've seen nothing better than this, because it's a reversal strategy that gets you in at the exact top when you're scalping resistance for puts and the exact bottom when you're scalping support for the lows. It is phenomenal on how well it works. Look at all of the trading opportunities with the gap close reversals just the first week of 2023. Right here, SPY gaps up. It fills the gap. The gap is the low of day. It has reversal. It rockets. On this day, SPY gaps up. It fills the gap. It reacts as a resistance. It doesn't form a floor. So it reacted as a resistance. It's not going to have a reversal. So I played puts and took advantage of that. 80% return, $12,700 profit in less than 30 minutes of trading, right? In less than 15 minutes of trading, right? And look at today. It just filled the gap at 383.76 in the pre-market. And look at what it did. It already worked. It already worked, man. The strategy already worked. It just stopped $1 from the highs. It is the best strategy possible. We're already seeing confirmations. I'm going to go live and trade with my team in Trader Society. We're going to absolutely crush it today. If you want to be a part of Trader Society, it's going to be the first link down below in the description. Let's trade the best setups at the best prices. I will see you guys soon.